Germany leads the field in biometric technologies. This has recently been confirmed by the industry association Bitkom. One German company that is particularly setting new standards is Psylock GmbH, based in Regensburg. Psylock markets authentication software based on keystroke biometrics. Silicon.de is talking to Professor Dieter Badmann, managing director of Psylock and the brains behind the product, having started development of the method at the University of Regensburg in the early 90s. Dr. Badmann, you claim that every person's typing is unique. Let us say we both touch type, then how exactly is my typing different from yours?
Well, if you look superficially, you won't find a great difference, but a closer analysis yields a surprising number of very distinct features, which all can be explained. It's probable that my fingers are less dexterous than yours. I might have a different rhythm. And then there are people who type quite constantly and others who are more hasty. This will affect the way they press the keys. Studied in detail, and if you take the sum of these features, then you will get two highly distinct profiles that will be just as individual as their owners.
Dann kann man doch sehr wohl das eine Tippverhalten von dem des anderen unterscheiden.
How exact and how secure is this method?
The method is very exact. The typing is recorded and analyzed in the millisecond range. This is another one of the reasons why you won't be able to copy my keystroke dynamics, no matter how long you watch me type. It is very secure. Developing the method was an enormous challenge, as a person's keystroke pattern varies from day to day. Your typing depends a lot on your physical and emotional condition, and the security level offered by keystroke biometrics is at least on a par with that of other biometric systems, such as fingerprint reading.
Since you mentioned fingerprint, nowadays every keyboard contains an integrated fingerprint sensor. Is that not just as secure and just as practical?
If you have a keyboard with an integrated fingerprint reader, you might indeed ask why you need another biometric system. But let's say you own an online shop. I'm not going to name any names, with a global customer base. You can't assume that every customer will have a fingerprint reader integrated into their home computer. This is one of the key advantages of Psylock, which is a pure software solution. I do not have to make this assumption. Psylock can be used by anyone with a standard keyboard. It surely is one of the major advantages, yes. For the Internet, in particular, keystroke biometrics really is the ideal solution.
So the fact that I don't need a sensor is the technology's key advantage?
That is a very important question, and one that we have conducted a lot of research for. Of course, there will always be variations in your typing, even if you switch between a PC and a notebook keyboard.
Will the system still recognize me if I use a different keyboard? An ergonomic keyboard, for instance, that I'm not used to, or a touchscreen keyboard where typing is quite a different experience altogether?
The system notices these, of course, but the level of system tolerance is such that such differences are incorporated without losing any selectivity. With touchscreen keyboards, on the other hand, it is very difficult to analyze anyone's keystroke pattern because, as you said, that is a very different typing altogether.
Es ist ja so tolerant gebaut, dass es diese Unterschiede ohne weiteres verkraftet, ohne die Trennschärfe zu verlieren. Bei Touchscreen-Tastaturen ist es allerdings nur sehr schwer möglich, ein persönliches Tippverhalten noch zu erkennen, denn da tippt man wirklich ganz anders.
Which means?
I wouldn't advise the use of keyboard biometrics with a touchscreen keyboard, or I would recommend using it merely in addition to another authentication technology, a password for instance.
What happens if I break my finger and my typing is temporarily affected?
That is a question I've been asking myself for a long time, but sadly I haven't been able to find a volunteer to test the situation. No, in earnest, if the injury is a serious one, for instance, where two fingers are bandaged together, one would have to set up a new profile for the duration of the injury.
Dann müsste man das System neu trainieren.
How long does it take to first train the system?
Actually, this is something we are quite proud of. All you do is type a short sentence, about half a line, which will take perhaps 5, 6, 7 or 8 seconds, and you're in. When you first train your profile, you type the sentence a few times for the system to be able to understand your individual keystroke pattern. I say a few times. To be more precise, it's 9 times. So all in all, the training takes no more than 2 minutes, and after that, Psylock will be able to authenticate you every time. And as your keystroke pattern changes over time, the system continuously adapts your profile.
Und wenn Sie im Laufe der Zeit Ihr Tippverhalten ändern, dann lernt das Verfahren mit dazu.
You said earlier that it's not possible to copy someone's typing, not even if somebody were to spend hours watching me type. Now, a hacker would probably use a keylogger to record my typing. Wouldn't this be the perfect way to crack the system?
Psylock has an integrated filter that detects attacks of this kind, and it is extremely reliable.
Dr. Bartmann, if you were responsible for the security strategy in a company, is there anywhere you would not use keystroke biometrics?
Wherever there is a priori reason it's not suitable, for instance for entry control systems. If an employee had to sit down to type somewhere before he can enter the office in the morning, that wouldn't be very convenient. Generally speaking, keystroke biometrics is suitable for any situation where you would be typing anyway. This means at a computer workstation, and it doesn't matter whether this is at home or at work, from a hotel or wherever.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. That was Professor Dieter Bartmann from the Regensburg company Psylock talking about the pros and cons of keystroke biometrics.